Well, it really does start with the '03 season because you remember going into the '03 season, Auburn was ranked as high as number 1 in the preseason.
There you go. Keep track.
It did not start well. The Tigers were shut out by USC.
Dennis hit the line, breaks free, touchdown.
Auburn then goes on the road and only manages a field goal at Georgia Tech. It's Rod Bramlett's first season as the voice of the Auburn Tigers. He doesn't get to call a touchdown until game 3 at Vanderbilt. So, and he would not say touchdown Auburn until that first touchdown.
Fires, caught at the 25, still on his feet, McIntyre to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, 5, gone! Touchdown Auburn!
At the end of the '03 season is Jet Gayton, all the mess that was going on there. And Alabama comes to town for the Iron Bowl that year. Night game at Jordan-Hare Stadium. And Cadillac goes 80 yards in the first play from scrimmage. It's Rod's famous "Go Crazy Cadillac, Go Crazy."
25, cuts it inside, 30, 35, 40. There goes Cadillac to the 50, to the 40, to the 30, to the 20, to the 15, 10. Go crazy, Cadillac! Go crazy! Touchdown, Auburn! 80 yards!
I can remember being at Beard Eves Coliseum for an Auburn basketball game, probably January, sometime right before the deadline to enter the NFL draft. And when Tommy Tuberville walked in there with Carnell Williams and Ronnie Brown, and they both decided, hey, they announced it at the same time, we are both returning for the 2004 season. That's when you thought, okay, these guys have a chance. You only have so many arrows in the quiver, right? If you're an athlete, and if your draft stock is at a certain level, you can make a compelling case that, hey, you might want to go start that NFL clock and start being a professional football player. But when they both decided that they could help themselves personally and help Auburn corporately as a team by coming back, that's when you thought, okay, let's see what is in store for 2004.
We individually, collectively made that decision. So individually, we all felt like we needed to do what was in the best interest. And I think collectively, we depended on one another because that was going to impact how well we did individually and the opportunities that we had. And so individually, we all thought that it may be in our best interest. Just doing the evaluations for NFL draft, realizing that my grade wasn't where I wanted it to be. I had gotten a grade back that I felt that I could improve. And just statistically, I felt we would be a better football team offensively. We had a lot of talent that we lost in '03, but offensively, Jason Campbell was my roommate. We had Cadillac, we had Carlos Rogers, we had, a lot of pieces in terms of what we were able to do offensive line-wise. Defensively, we had leaders like Junior Rosegreen. And so I felt like that we could be pretty special. And we had some leftover business. In '03, we weren't able to get it done. We started out ranked really high, and that was disappointing taste for us. And so we wanted to try to make an impact.
Well, for us, it's all about, unfinished business. To be able to come back and try to leave this program better than when it was when we started. We felt like the '03 season was predicted to compete for a national championship, and a lot of things just didn't go our way that year. And we kind of went through some things that made us closer. And after being challenged and everything that we went through, and to finish that season off, with 2 big wins against Alabama and against Wisconsin, to come into this off season, being able to build off of that and do something special, we thought to make it to come back for one last run together as seniors was a big, big deal for us.
I'll never forget the press conference that Tommy Tuberville held when it was announced that Carlos Rogers and Ronnie Brown and Cadillac Williams and Jason Campbell were all coming back. He said it was the greatest recruiting day that he ever had. And it wasn't new guys, it was just those guys coming back for that 2004 season. That set up 2004 for Auburn.
Well, I came from Indiana, and we had some good players, but nothing like what they had at Auburn. And there was a couple of pieces that had to be put in place to make it all work. One was to see to it that we gained confidence, the quarterback gained confidence so that he could be more functional, because I think he was kind of all over the place when I got there, although he was a great talent.
One thing he told me, he said, hey, I want you to just go out there and play and just let it loose. Don't worry about making a mistake. We're at our best when we just let you let it loose. And when he told me that, it's just like weight just went off my shoulders. Because, I come out of high school as a highly talented quarterback, and I was used to throwing the ball a lot. And, we was pretty much of a run-heavy team, play-action team. And then that year, he said, no, we're going to open the whole playbook up.
Out of the shotgun, Campbell with time. He's going deep. Aroma-Shadu, touchdown! 32 yards out.
And then the other thing I think that was huge was the ability to play both the running back in the same backfield. And that only worked because of Ronnie Brown's unselfishness, his willingness to play fullback some and then, rotate at the halfback position.
Goes to Ronnie Brown. Ronnie Brown still on his feet. Brown to midfield. And run out of bounds at the 31-yard line.
But he was a little bit of a prototype in that he was over 230 pounds, had fantastic hands, and, made plays. He could work from both positions. And I know growing up a 49er fan, I was always very cognizant of the contribution that Roger Craig made to their team, and I was going to try to do the best I could anyway to build Ronnie kind of in that mold. So, but it was his unselfishness and willingness to buy into what we wanted to do.
Brown on the carry. He's in, touchdown! Ronnie Brown! The 23rd touchdown of his Auburn career.
So going into the 04 season, I'd already graduated. And so just doing the evaluations for NFL draft, realizing that my grade wasn't where I wanted it to be. I had gotten a grade back that I felt that I could improve. And just statistically, I felt we would be a better football team offensively. We had a lot of talent that we lost in 03, but offensively, Jason Campbell was my roommate. We had Cadillac, we had Carlos Rogers, we had, a lot of pieces in terms of what we were able to do offensive line-wise, defensively. We had leaders like Junior Rosegreen, and so I felt like that we could be pretty special.
Ronnie Brown down to the 7. What a run!
The key of that offense, 2 keys. One, you had a 5th-year quarterback in Jason Campbell. Seasoned, had seen it all, had taken some lumps, and he was a finished, as far as a college quarterback, a finished, fully developed product. But then you take the weapons around him. This was a very, very balanced offense. Carnell Williams and Ronnie Brown in the backfield, and then you've got NFL receivers, Ben Obamanu.
Pumps, throws, Obamanu, and Obamanu caught it!
Devin Aroma-Shadu. You've got Courtney Taylor, who was an in-state player who was an emotional leader and a great clutch receiver as we saw in the LSU game. So you just had tremendous balance. And then you've got Al Borges taking all those weapons and maximizing them. If you're a defense, how do you game plan? Where do you start? What do you take away? Because under Al Borges, with Jason Campbell, Ronnie Brown, Carnell Williams, the Auburn offense of 2004 had answers for whatever you tried to do.
I would argue that there was even more excitement around that defense based on what they had seen the year before. But also when you take that retrospective look after the 2004 season, where they finished #1 in rushing defense, allowing only 147 points the entire season. That's less than right at 11 a game. Just a lot of talent there. The biggest thing was speed. They were fast. It didn't matter if you had a name to go with the notoriety. Everybody on that team could fly.
Well, hand it off to Payne, and the ball is loose. Ball is loose, still on the ground to the 30. Auburn's got it. Junior Rosegreen finally fell on it. It got kicked around in the pile once it got down on the ground, but someone stripped it out of Payne's arms. It bounced around, and Rosegreen fell on it at the 30, and the Tigers have great field position on their first possession.
I mean, it was exciting, and you got to think the offense was so good because we made them good. You know, we had such a strong defense, and, you know, we saw Cadillac and run it every day in practice. So to go against those guys, you know, every day, we all got better. And that made us prepare for any test that we had during that season.
Don't get me wrong. Like, we had an amazing offensive unit. But you had to see the likes of, like I said, our front seven every day. Think about our back four. I mean, we had the Thorpe Award won that corner. We had two great safeties, you know, in Rosegreen and Will. Travis, AT were great linebackers. DD played well. Me and Jay played in the middle with Brett Stanley and the late, great Quinn Groves. So, I mean, you got to think about it. We were pretty stacked.
Well, we challenged each other. You know, it's all about competing, right? Like, you know, we live in a day and age sometimes where guys kind of get afraid to compete. But back during our time, we would have situational football challenges during the week of season where, hey, it's third down and, you know, offense versus first team offense versus first team defense and you know, winner takes all type stuff. And, you know, so we competed against each other even during the weeks of season. Red zone, you know, we would come up with 4 or 5 plays that go against each other to see if we could score and see if they could stop us. And then short yardage and goal line, where you're talking about, you know, 2 of our best running backs not afraid to get dirty during the week and going against our star linebackers, and Travis Williams and AT and, you know, those guys, Jay Ratliff playing D tackle. You know, we wasn't afraid of each other, and we didn't think about, oh man, what if this happened? We was about, what are we doing to make this team as strong as it can be? Because we was, just like it says, iron sharpens iron, so does one man sharpens another.
In motion, that's Broughton, 5 wide receivers set, will screen pass to the near side, and then a flea flicker play down the field. It's intercepted at the 50 by Will Harry. Dragged down back in Citadel territory.
In an era of offensive football, they made their impact felt.
It's intercepted by Carlos Rogers. Rogers down the sideline. Cuts it back. Carlos Rogers, touchdown!
I ran into Joe Witt, legendary Auburn assistant coach. Coached linebackers here, was a part of multiple SEC championships in the Dye era and following. That was, I believe, his second to last season, he was telling me yesterday. So a quarter century on the Plains, and he said the 2004 team, this is Joe Witt speaking, was the best team he'd ever been a part of.